There are forces around us that we can feel, hear, and see, but to some, there is no explanation as to why. This podcast discusses everything that we as a society are taught to doubt. We interview our science and data-driven co-host to see if we can shift his perspective and get him to embrace the alchemist within. Join me, Rebecca Fanali, and our co-host Kurt Braddock as we launch our intro episode of The Alchemist and the Academic. Hello and welcome to The Alchemist and the Academic. I am your host, Rebecca Fanali, and I am here with my co-host,
Kurt Braddock. Hey, Becca.
Hello. We are here to do a podcast today about everything spiritual, metaphysical, and the occult. And
skepticism thereof.
Yes. So we will describe the two parts, the alchemist and the academic. So I am the alchemist. I am an acupuncturist, Chinese herbalist, Reiki 2 practitioner, tarot reader, and witch.
I'd say witch is probably first of those, but yeah.
And then Kurt here is our academic, and he has
a PhD in communication and psychology. I have an interest in the spiritual, the metaphysical, all the things we can't explain, but at my core, I am a social scientist. I believe in what I can see, what I can touch, what I can feel, what I can hear. And although I like to believe that there's more out there, I have my doubts. So Becca here is going to prove that there is more than beyond what I can see.
Yes, that will be the whole purpose of this podcast, is to talk about all the things and have the juxtaposition of the views on them and really just have a good conversation, good dialogue about everything alchemy.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, you're the expert in the alchemy. You are the alchemist. I would say that if you're expecting to hear two people argue with one another, this podcast probably is not for you. Yes. But if you're expecting to hear somebody ask honest questions about the kinds of things that Becca has steeped herself in for years, to ask honest questions about what is beyond what we can see and what we can hear. And if you're interested in experiencing somebody going through some of these metaphysical experiences, this would be the podcast for you. Why don't you explain what that means, Becca?
So, as I've said, I love all the things, the occult, metaphysical, spirituality, Wicca, witchcraft, all the above. And Kurt here has been privy to some of the things that I offer as services, and we decided to come together and do a podcast where we can talk about some things that you might be skeptical about, let's say.
And by you, she means me.
Yes, but as Kurt.
And there are many things that I'm very skeptical about. So you know what? I think I might have spoke too soon. You might hear us argue about a couple of things. That might be possible. Maybe not argue. I could never argue with Becca. That's the problem. Is we will have a spirited discussion about the spiritual. Pun absolutely intended.
Yeah. My goal is to talk about things that I think might have a negative connotation now, that where at its core that is not what it is. So it's more about bringing awareness and talking about things that, you know, people might not believe in, and then also having you get those things done. For example, tarot readings, mediumship,
hypnosis,
past life regressions, all of those fun things, having you experience them, and then coming from your background where you are so much like data driven, and just talking about your experience and seeing both sides, but also having it as a safe space to talk about the things. So that's my goal.
I think we're going to achieve that goal. And I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun because I'm going to go through some things. I'm going to go through it. I mean, some of the things we've already talked about is, like I said, I'll be hypnotized. We'll do tarot readings. We're also going to talk about different kinds of ways that the mind gets expanded. It's not a drug podcast, I'm going to say that. But as we get into the podcast a bit more, you'll learn more about us, and you'll learn about the kinds of medical experiences I go through. So things like esketamine, Spravato. We're going to talk about that with the goal of kind of taking away the mystery surrounding it, grounding it, and giving you both sides, letting you know what the experience is like, both spiritually and having it grounded in reality.
Yes. So this is our intro episode to give you a little bit of background about us, why we're doing this, and an introduction to the podcast itself. So we are going to do 12 episodes. There will be 4 mini series, and we'll go briefly over what we're going to cover and just give you a little introduction to what you have to look forward to.
And the goal, if we feel that we have, or we see that we have a couple of people listening and there's an interest in this, then we'll go beyond the initial 12, because we have several ideas about what to go into, and we're already cooking a couple of ideas about how to involve you as the listener in the podcast as well, because the things that I've learned already, even if I'm skeptical about them, it's very communal, it's very communicative, and it benefits from having you involved. So if this is something it sounds like you're interested in, keep listening as we make these episodes, because you can get involved.
Yes, I would love to do eventually like a Q&A segment.
Oh, we're going to do a couple of those. Yeah, no, I think
cool.
There's going to be a few Q&As. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
All right, so we will talk about the episodes that we want to cover. So when I was trying to think of what I would want to cover in this podcast, I thought of doing a little bit of everything. So the 4 categories that we're going to do, or 4 mini series, we have pagan holidays, divination, non-Western medicine, and the metaphysical. And I'll go into depth a little bit.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, not too much. Don't want to give too much away, because there's going to be a lot going on when we talk about the actual episodes.
Oh, yes. I cannot wait to go in depth about all these topics, but just briefly. So for the pagan holidays, we're going to cover Samhain, Yule, and Ostara. Divination, we're going to do tarot, witchcraft, and rituals, and then runes. For non-Western medicine, we're going to do acupuncture, East Asian medicine, meditation, and then herbology. And for the metaphysical, we're going to do deities, mediumship, and past life regressions.
So let me ask you right now, which of those, I don't want to say favorite because I know they're all dear to you, but which one of those is closest to your heart? Like, which one are you looking forward to most?
That's so hard. Because, so I love the pagan holidays. I celebrate them myself.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of pagan holidays, you should be hearing this around Yule. That's not an accident. We decided to drop the first episode right around Yule.
Yes. And we are hoping that we can do the other ones respectively, except for Samhain, because that just passed. But it's hard because I love, I do my rituals every month, sometimes daily. So that's very near and dear to my heart. But then I'm also an acupuncturist, and I love herbology and, East Asian medicine.
And let me jump in here and tell you the one that I am most skeptical about is East Asian medicine. That's my biggest skepticism, is probably East Asian medicine. Because, I know that our modern holidays are really derived from these pagan holidays. I'm aware that Wiccans engage in divination. They have rituals. I don't know if I believe in what the rituals are supposed to do, but I know they exist. But then we have East Asian medicine, where there are some people who rely on it as a form of healing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, go to the hospital. So I don't know how I feel about East Asian medicine. That might be one where we fight a little bit, Becca.
I think so. Because that is my passion.
Yeah. Didn't you just get certified in it?
So I becoming an acupuncturist, and it's different by state, but we have a national licensing board, and I am licensed in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, and they both require a bachelor's degree, and then the school itself is 3 years, and then I also got my Chinese herbal medicine certificate, which was another 2.5 years. So it's been a long journey.
And let me clarify. I don't mean to imply that it's not difficult. My doubts and most of the stuff that I look for data for relates to effectiveness and efficacy.
Oh, yeah.
Does it work? I'm not sure.
And those are my favorite patients, because the ones that I get in my office and then I get to treat them, and they're like, I'm just here because so-and-so sent me, I don't know if it's going to work, or, the placebo effect. And I literally, in my inside, I'm like, yes.
You like the challenge?
Yeah.
So
like,
that's me. I'm that patient.
Yeah. And then they become the biggest advocate.
And then for me, I go, I know the placebo effect exists. So if it works, I know it's working on myself. So that'll be a fun one. Because I'm going to test you on that one quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait.
Yeah.
So there will be specific episodes where we do, like for the mediumship episode, we will have a medium on where you can hear live, what Kurt will experience during his mediumship session. Other ones like the past life regression and the acupuncture session, those are a little more in depth, and they're a little lengthy. So we will have a discussion about what happened during his session. And I will also be doing the tarot reading live.
We could also, we've talked about maybe recording some of the sessions that are longer and then splicing them into the conversations. Yeah. We'll see. Nice. We'll see how that goes. And if there is an appetite for that, we'll splice those in. I don't know how much people are going to enjoy hearing me get acupunctured, but who knows?
Right? I was like,
who knows? There's a taste for everybody out there. So we'll see what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, and then we will go from there. So we hope that you listen in and that you like what we're talking about, and know that this is a safe space for all the things that might have a negative connotation right now.
And it's a safe space. The whole point is that it's a safe space for people who do see themselves as witches or spiritual, and it's a safe space for people who think that it's bullshit, because that's the point.
Yes.
The whole point is for me to challenge Becca's perspectives and for Becca to throw it in my face and show me how wrong I am. So I'm very I'm very much looking forward to being wrong, because I like learning new things.
Broadening the horizons and also having a judgment-free space.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. We hope that you join us in this fun, because we're going to try to involve you as well as we move forward.
Yes. So
Becca, you ready to have some fun for the first episode?
Yes.
Yeah. So the first episode, which you can listen to right now if you like, now that you know who Becca is and who I am, you can jump right into the episode on Yule. So happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Happy Yule. I don't know what it is.
Happy Yule.
Happy Yule. And we will see you in this first episode. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.